This is Banging on the Drum. It is another beautiful day in West Central Wisconsin, and welcome to episode 141 of Banging on the Drum. Please go out, like, subscribe, download, share, and we would greatly appreciate it. But as always, I am your host, P Dog, joined alongside our other host, M Dog. And M Dog, how are you doing on this Monday?
I feel okay. And I'm very mixed about our weekend. So I got mixed feelings on it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a brutal loss in a game where it just felt like the Packers should have won, which, yeah, I get how that would get mixed there because I think as optimistic and stuff as we are, and I don't think either of us were like, oh no, the 49ers definitely like outgunned the Packers in every aspect. But I think if we had to like dig into our core and like the realisticness and then what has happened with the 49ers in the recent past, I guess I shouldn't speak for you, but I kind of was like, I could see this going bad. But I mean, I thought if we were going to win, we were going to win a close one. And if we lost, I mean, we could have lost a close one, which we did, or we could have got our ass whooped. And that wouldn't have overly surprised me if the Packers defense turned back into a pumpkin. Because we've seen it a couple times this year already.
Yeah, and so I have feelings on both sides of that they kind of did and then they kind of didn't. Right? And that's where I'm at with the game too, is that the Packers played so poorly and we're still in this game that it gives me so much hope moving forward. And yet, they played like shit. And so it makes me mad that they played poorly because we should have routed them.
Yeah, it definitely could have been probably like damn near the same score as the Dallas game going into halftime, with a couple drop picks in there.
Yeah.
Honestly, my memory is failing me a little bit because I watched it, drank throughout the whole game, was pretty excited, felt like we were going to win for a lot of that game.
I honestly thought we were gonna win right up until the interception.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't have a ton of confidence and I was nervous that bad things could happen inside of the game. But for the most part, I thought we're gonna win this game.
No, I definitely felt like a moment that could have been like Jordan Love's like signature, like I'm on the scene type play. I mean, I think he already has that. Like I think the league's on notice and sees Jordan Love being potentially one of the top few quarterbacks in the league here in the recent future. But I think if he completed that drive for that comeback, he jumps up that list super duper fast.
And actually might make his job significantly more difficult, right? So if you jump up that list,
yeah.
right? Well, so you have expectations, and then every defensive coordinator in the league is like, all right, I'm gonna fuck this guy up. I figured something out on him, right? And they try to do that consistently. Now, I don't know that he has those holes because when you pressure him, he moves and he is effective, right? And so I'm not sure how they solve them. And they've seen what? So that we played 19 games this year, 10-9. So the Niners had seen 18 games he played, and maybe 19 if you include the Philly game or the Kansas City game, right? And so they should have been able to be pretty close to figuring them out with essentially an entire week to line that up. But either way,
yeah, I think he's just too well rounded. Like he's not a gimmicky quarterback, so it's like there's not like one thing you can take away from him and then he's crippled as far as I can see by the way he plays the game. And then it just seems like weapons on top of it. It's like our guys are able to get open. So yeah, no, it was good. But if you want,
it was good and it was bad at the same time. Let's get into a refresher of why.
Yeah, you got to refresh my memory.
Yeah. All right. So Packers get the ball to start the game. It sounds like 49ers and Packers were both in line with we want the Packers to have the ball to start the game. If the Packers win the toss, it's going to be deferred, or it's going to be received, and if the Niners win it, then it's going to be deferred, right? And so, anyway, we drive down the field, 14 plays. Anderson Carlson kicks a field goal. I said Anderson. Anders Carlson kicked a field goal to put the Packers up 3-0. Stalled out though, 29-yarder, I believe. Next up, Purdy gets sacked by Preston Smith, forces the 49ers to punt. So it's 3-0, 2 drives in. Packers go on a 12-play drive down to the 49ers 14. And then they try to sneak the ball on fourth down. It doesn't get there. It's very, very close, but it's not there. And so they turn the ball over. 49ers go on a 12-yard drive capped off with a 32-yard touchdown by George Kittle. Packers get the ball back. 9-play drive, finish with a 29-yard Carlson field goal. Packers are now down 7-6. 10-play drive by the 49ers ended in a field goal attempt, which is blocked by Colby Wooden. Packers 6, 49ers 7 at the half. 49ers get the ball at the beginning of the second half. The Packers force a 3-and-out. Then they take a 10-play drive and get a 19-yard touchdown to Bo Melton right in the back of the end zone. Packers are up 13-7. There was a big pass interference on that play, or right before that play on Bo Melton that put us down in scoring position. Next drive, it's a 4-play drive for San Francisco. Christian McCaffrey finishes off with a 32-yard run. It's 14-13 49ers. 73-yard kick return by Nixon, which he fumbled on, scooped up immediately by Eric Wilson. And then 4 more plays. Tucker Kraft gets a touchdown, and then the 2-point conversion is good to Aaron Jones. Packers are up 21-14. 49ers go 3 and out. Defense gets a big stop. Packers get the ball back. Jordan Love throws an interception to Dre Greenlaw. 49ers use 6 plays, have to take a 52-yard field goal. They make that field goal. It is Packers 21, 49ers 17. The Packers go 3 and out. The 49ers have an 8-play drive in which they're forced to punt. Next drive, Anders Carlson misses a 41-yard field goal after Aaron Jones has like a 53, I believe, yard run. And then 49ers have a 12-yard drive capped off with a 6-yard McCaffrey touchdown, which almost looked like the Packers were letting them into the end zone. Could have or could have not. I'm not sure which one we were doing there. And then Jordan Love throws his second pick to Dre Greenlaw in essentially what is the final drive of the game. The 49ers still had to kneel it down or whatever, but Jordan Love throws a pick to kind of seal it. Went full Brett Favre on us, I guess so.
No, and he went. It is always the things like during the season that we see. So we've been talking about it quite a bit. Basically, our defense kind of felt like it reverted at the end of the game. Like, honestly, giving up 24 points to the 49ers doesn't seem that bad. But what you can't see in that recap that we talked about was the interceptions. And honestly, it's kind of escaping me or the dropped interceptions, escaping me of like when exactly that those happened in the game. But there was definitely 2 Packers players at least hit right in the chest by very catchable balls that didn't get.
And Purdy was throwing a bunch of shit that wasn't good, right on top of the ones that actually hit guys in their hands or in their chest. And I believe the first one for Savage was on the 3 and out, right at the beginning, or not the 3 and out, but on the first drive of the game, like 6 minutes left in the first quarter. So like that changes the whole dynamic of the game, in my opinion, if he gets that.
No, I think it turns into like the Cowboys game right off the bat. If we get that big lead, can lean on the run. I mean, we leaned on the run like pretty well. Aaron Jones had held a game.
And Wilson actually had enough touches. You know, he probably had 5 or 6 touches. I don't know exactly. I didn't look at his exact numbers, but I mean, he had enough touches in that game that it was significant, I thought.
Yeah, so Jones had 18 carries, 108 yards. Manuel Wilson had 4 carries for 16 yards. Reed had 1 carry, whatever. But yeah, they ran the ball 23 times, I guess, if you count with Love 28 times. But yeah, I mean, the running game looked good. But like I was getting to is it just the missed kick. So things from the regular season that follow us into the postseason. Defense kind of going soft a little bit too early. And then Jordan Love just maybe forcing something a little bit too early. And by when I say maybe, definitely forcing something just a little bit too early, like feeling like the game's on the line and the play needs to be made earlier than I think it really had to be made. I mean, whatever. He's in the situation, like it's going to be different, but it definitely felt like, hey, live to fight another play instead of letting that one rip across your body. And
I actually thought on the final possession of the game that he should have ran that. I think it was 3rd and 2. We had all 3 timeouts, if I remember correctly. And he's kind of out of the pocket and then has to throw it back across his body. I think if he just runs it to just get the 2, I think he gets there. And now I could be wrong. I could be thinking a different play, but like I thought if he would have just bolted up the small seam that he had, I thought he had it. There's a few other things that kind of drove me crazy about this game. I wish we would have run a real play on that 4th and inches. I don't care if you kick it or not. Like it comes down to like being able to push the other team around or whatever. And I like the being aggressive. Just like I like them going for 2 to put them up 7. I just wish we'd run a real play. Line it up, disguise coverage, make sure it happens. If you want to go under center and run a real play, like I'm cool with that. Like I know that most times we are out of the shotgun, but I wish we would have run a real play on the failed 4th down. On the George Kittle touchdown, massively blown coverage. Somebody just saw something in front of him and then got, as the Pat McAfee show would call it, sucked up and gets beat over the top because of that.
Yeah. When you're talking about the QB sneak that didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd like to run a real play, I think, there.
Yeah, that is tough. Because what was it? Was it 4th and 1 or was it like 4th and less than 1?
I mean, it was short.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything over 1 for sure.
I do feel like maybe if you have Dylan in that situation, like that's
maybe that's
go. But yeah, even that though, sometimes we're both. I don't know. I think we get hot and cold on Dylan. Definitely is where he's supposed to make his money, and I don't know, maybe a little bit too obvious if he comes in, but yeah, definitely could set up something else. But yeah, I'm not too disappointed with doing the QB sneak there. But yeah, it sucks that we didn't get it.
I mean, so like in hindsight, if we get those points, like the game is different, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I think people look at. And I don't care that we failed. I feel like that's exactly what they knew we were going to do. I think there were screenshots that they were essentially lined up offsides, but that's because they knew what was coming. They knew it was a QB sneak coming. I don't know. Did you see any of that stuff?
No, and
And
yeah,
I don't want to blame the refs. Like, I don't think that's a missed call that, like, oh my God, this should have been offsides on them. I don't care, right? Like, there was a intentional grounding that maybe could have got called. I don't care. Like, I don't think the refs impacted this game in a true and meaningful way. I thought
no,
they actually did okay in letting the football players play football.
yeah, no, and I mean, like I said, I was drinking a little bit during this game, but like I didn't have any like ill will to the refs in this game because I mean the Packers could have and probably should have won this game. But yeah, I don't think you take a field goal there at that point in the game. You'd already driven down the field, got a field goal, and then I mean you're on the 14, 4th and 1. Yeah, I think everything nowadays in football tells you to go for that. I guess you kick a field goal and then technically it's tied, like you were saying. But you're right. Like the game's not going to play out the same exact
Well,
way.
it would have been 7-6. Yeah, I guess at the end. Yeah, at the end of the game, it's tied. But maybe he misses it, right? Like, he did
Yeah,
miss one later in the game.
yeah.
So,
And it's not like he
um,
hasn't missed like 6 extra points this year, so it's not
right.
too far outside the realm of possibilities. But it does suck that Carlson missed another kick in this game, and I just think if he hasn't had like as bad of a season as he's had, it would have been that big of a deal with like the weather that he was being forced to kick in, and then
Well,
like
and so, like,
the
I don't know
kicks.
if the mechanics of the kicks, the snap, the hold, all that was good on the one he missed. I have no idea, but the one he made was not good. At least one of them was dog shit.
Yeah, horrible snap, good
Yeah,
hold, and
yeah.
then yeah. No, I mean, it definitely wasn't a good day to be Anders Carlson, but yeah, when he misses that 41-yard field goal, like I mean, I text you and Riley, like it's just crazy. Like we knew he was going to miss one in this game. Like if you look back, like I didn't do the math beforehand, but he's had to have missed one of something in the last 5 or 6 games. It
I
might
think
even
it.
be more.
So
It
I
might even
think
be
it was like
seven.
11 out of the last 12 games he's missed one.
Yeah, just craziness. But I guess if you're gonna let this guy grow, uh, I guess you gotta. We spent too much time on him. I'm sick of that.
Well, I'm
But
going
yeah,
to touch him one more time here because I got in my so like, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier in the thing, but like, I think the Packers played like dog shit, very very badly, and uh, we still should have beaten them. Not like that. Uh, we should have been close. Like the game, like we lost a close game because you know, one play at the end we played really really well. I think we played poorly, and we still should have beat them. We had 2 dropped interceptions. We had 4 red zone trips with only 2 field goals to show for that. Um, 2 fumbles in that game, like just sloppy play on that. I get that it's wet and shit like that, but either way, sloppy play. And we missed a 4th down conversion. We missed a field goal. Like, things just, we didn't play good sound football. We didn't get penalties and we didn't do all the like a bunch of other things that happen in games. But like, we did not play good football. That game, I think I said it should have been 38-7. No, this was
I
at
mean,
38-14. I was saying it should have been 38-14, like at one point in the game. I think that you should like reasonably expect to complete um, the 1 or 2 to those touchdowns. And if you get a pick, like, yeah, it should have been a route.
yeah, no, it definitely should have been, and I think that like makes it hurt a little bit more,
Yeah,
just because like we were saying early in the show is I guess I don't know what to expect coming in, but like once it was a quarter of football, I was like, damn, this is gonna be a game the whole way through. And it was a game that, yeah, like you said, there definitely was bad football, bad execution by the Packers. But for some reason, I felt, and I don't think it was just the alcohol, but like I felt pretty good about it the whole time. Like I was like, we're gonna have a shot when it comes down to the end, and we did. So yeah, I don't know if you want me to do the SWAT on the fly, but yeah, I mean, big strength, Aaron Jones.
yeah. So I got like some studs of the game here too.
Yeah, do those
Um,
first, and then maybe I can
so I thought
steal 'em.
I thought Aaron Jones was a stud, 118 yards, no touchdowns. I think Dobbs played really really well. Nixon with that kick return, and he had a pretty good game defensively. I didn't think that like there was any huge issues with him. And then Kenny Clark just felt like he was making a ton of plays. Right. I don't know if that's accurate. Don't know if he had a ton of tackles or not.
Yeah, he had 5 tackles, 2 solo, and then a half a sack. So
The Packers defense in the second half actually really did a fantastic job. 4 big holds. One of those does have a field goal in it, but that was right after the interception. Um, you get the 3-and-out right after the half. You get the 3-and-out after the Packers go up 21-14. The interception one I just talked about, and then force them to punt after the Packers had to punt in the 4th quarter.
yeah, no, I mean, to me, lots of things looked good. Like you brought up good points that yeah, the Packers didn't really play like that great of game, but I do think, I mean, Love's numbers are so bad in this one, but I don't really think his numbers are quite as bad as I mean, I don't think his play was quite as bad as the numbers kind of say it is. So he was
I thought he
21
had
for
I mean, he didn't have like big numbers, but like I thought he had a real like there was like the Dobbs catch on the sideline, which was a huge play.
dime.
Great throw.
Yeah.
Like the Bo Melton touchdown, he put it right at the back of the end zone, gave Melton the opportunity. I mean, I get that Melton was open on that one, but um gave him really like an opportunity to catch that ball where I guess he could have fucked it up a little bit. I thought he played well outside of those two picks.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, the last one, I think it's just something he's going to grow out of. I hope, like, not feeling like he has to force it like super early. He basically takes like 3 minutes off the clock, and that's how he plays with the game left.
Yeah,
If that makes any sense. Like
I think
that's a play like you don't have to make till the end. But
I
yeah.
think that makes sense to me.
So I guess I won't get into all the strengths, weaknesses, like opportunities and stuff. But we can go with like opportunities. It's like we played with quite possibly the best team in the NFL. I mean, they're Vegas's favorite. I don't know if it changed after this game because the Packers sure made them look beatable. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing but optimism left for this team,
Yeah,
and it's crazy how we went from a season before where we felt like the window was like
gone.
creeping shut, and then we had like an inch left before the window was shut, and then it just got ripped wide open for the next season. But gosh
Yeah, and
dang,
so
it would have been so fun to win this game and then get to go to Detroit for a chance to go to the Super
yeah,
Bowl. So heartbreaking. Yeah, I don't know. I'm all,
the team is essentially like almost entirely signed for next year too.
yeah,
And 40 million in cap space is going to open up. I think it's something like that for the Rodgers stuff. I understand you're probably signing Jordan Love to like that same contract,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
so
I
like,
mean, I guess that's actually kind of nice. You're like, oh, the money opened up, but it's kind of like not knowing you have money, and then you've been saving money that you didn't know you had saved. And you're like, oh, okay, well, we can just put it here. And it's like we
yeah.
never had to use it in the first place.
So the team looks almost identical. I mean, so there's going to be some shakeup with coaches and stuff like that. There always is, and there's going to be like, I mean, so in my mind, I still want Joe Barry to be fired, but how much does that affect the psyche of the team if we decide to do that?
Yeah, I don't know because it felt like in the season, like our cornerbacks, like the Douglas thing is still super weird to me.
So, I mean, I don't know if I explained this on here, or if this is just thoughts that I've had, but I think that that is a like we still have to control the rest of the players on this team, and Douglas is not willing to shut his mouth enough to be here.
Yeah, and I have
And I think
no
that same
clue.
thing was happening with Alexander, and that's why he essentially got taken off the field for a week.
Well, yeah, and I mean, those would be the guys who would be speaking up the most because I think they were the ones getting put in positions where
Yeah.
they were in tough positions and they looked like shit, and then they would get
Yep.
shit on for it.
Right.
So they were getting pissed off. That's what it seemed like.
Campbell got pissed off at one point too because they were ripping him apart, and he's
Yeah,
like, "Well, I'm not going to do this anymore. Then, like, I'm not going to play when I'm a little dinged up to try to help this team. If everybody thinks that I'm failing the team,
yeah, and then he's getting put out on. I can't remember. There was one crazy picture during the season where like Campbell was out on. God, I want to say like Jamar Chase, but we didn't play the Bengals. But it was something like that. Like it was.
So I mean, yeah, Justin Jefferson. I think
Ju-
they put Preston Smith on Justin Jefferson multiple times in the first game,
Okay. Yeah.
and
There
like
was
Campbell,
something with Campbell too. But yeah,
yeah,
no, that's good that you brought that up because I can't believe I forgot that. But yeah, I do think uh yeah, I think Joe Barry's probably gonna be gone after this one. Um just get like a full offseason refresh. And I mean, I think you have all the pieces there. I do think he did put up a little bit of fight in these playoffs to combat it a little bit, that it's going to be a harder decision than it needed to be.
yep. I
But
do have a buddy. I do have a buddy that just says that that's like it's bad scheme, and we have players that are so good that they're just overcoming the scheme.
I I like to think that that's the same thing, but I don't really know. And I mean, it just seems crazy. Like some of the stuff that we've seen happen throughout this season and the stubbornness of like how long it took him to finally change. Um, yeah, and just this last touchdown drive, or so when we're up 21-17, so there's how much so
So
6 minutes,
roughly 5 or 6 minutes, yeah.
so 6 minutes, 18 seconds left in the game. So that you think is a drive where you're like, hey, we're gonna just bring the house and throw these guys off. Like, we need to disrupt what they're doing right here. And if they do end up scoring, because we're like a little bit over aggressive, then we got like time to come back and do
Way
it.
more time. Yeah, way more time.
And that last touchdown drive, they just let them like just walk down the field. So
Slowly, as slow as they
yeah,
really wanted to go.
so yeah, they had a 7-yard pass, 2-yard run, get a first down, 5 yards, 5 yards, first and 10. Yeah, it was just, yeah, they got to, wait, really? We only had the ball back with 1 minute and
Yeah, 5 seconds. 10 seconds,
Okay.
something like that.
For some reason, I thought when Love forced it, we had over 2 minutes left in the game. But yeah, no, I was wrong about that. So yeah, he throws the interception with 52 seconds left in the game. But yeah. So we let them have a 5-minute drive. And yeah, I think right there just tells you, yeah, he
Right.
never.
You'd rather get beat with 4 minutes on the clock.
Yeah.
Right. Like, oh, look, we gave up a touchdown. There's 4 minutes on the clock. Let's fucking go do this.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess though, if we had to make too many changes, I don't know if Rich Bisaccia is going to be coming back. Like, I don't think that's a guy that you like fire or anything, but it just seems like after what he did for our special teams, I know they weren't quite as good this year, especially with our kicking situation. I don't know how much of a special teams coordinator that is. Like when I think of like what a special teams coordinator is doing, I'm thinking of like punt recovery or punt coverage and then kick coverage and then kick returning and stuff like that.
So I assume that it is working the mechanics of the kicker, right? Like, so all three of those positions, the holder, the snapper, and the kicker, like to some extent, like I understand everybody, like you have one job, like I understand that, right? But so do golfers, and golfers fuck up all the time too. And it's just basically you just have to be able to swing a club. And that's the same premise. So I just don't understand how you don't have like 5,000 reps every week, but I suppose that just wrecks your leg, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what the whole issue was, if it was snapping, holding, kicking, a little bit of everything, which I kind of think that that's what it is. But yeah, definitely need to fix that unit for next year. I mean, it looks like at this point, like, they're not getting rid of Carlson. So Carlson looks like he's going to have another year to fix this, but I just don't know. I guess it's a long off season, but like how he's going to get this stuff like out of his head, like ready for a new year. Because
I mean, so to be fair, like I'm pretty sure his brother missed a playoff kick and that's why he got cut, or like a huge kick to win a game, and they cut him over it in Minnesota.
oh,
Like,
okay, I couldn't
99% sure.
Yeah, I couldn't remember where he was this year, but I want to see NFL kicking stats and just see.
I seen some stuff about his field goal percentage, and this does not include his extra points, but his field goal percentage was like one of the best the Packers have ever had
Really?
for a year. Yeah, like 82% or 81%, and like most of them are in the high 70s.
Yeah, I
It's
want
like
to
anybody who's kicked. I saw it on Twitter, and like maybe it was all a lie, but they didn't include the extra points, and the extra points mattered frequently for the old Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, so Evan McPherson. Wait, let me see. Dan Carlson, we got here. So I do not think this is right, Mike. I do not think your stats right. So there's a couple kickers that hit 100%, but they only had a couple kicks. Agumba Wally. So we had a Wisconsin Badger that was 1-for-1, but Nick Foles was 96%.
No, I'm saying Packers wise, he was like 82%.
Yeah, no. Mason Crosby definitely had a better year than that. Anders Carlson was like bottom of the pack. Chad Ryland, worst kicker in the league, 16 for 25. I mean, yeah, he was right in the middle of the pack. So Tyler Bass, who had a rough year for Buffalo and took the cake on missing kicks in this NFL season or NFL this weekend, missing the huge one at the end of the Buffalo Chiefs game. But yeah, he even had a better season than Anders Carlson. So 82%. Are you trying to look up right now Mason Crosby's stats? Because I guarantee you Mason Crosby had a season like where he had. I guarantee you Mason Crosby's like lifetime field goal kicking percentage is higher than 80.
Yeah.
So because I want to say
what makes you think that he had like a season where he hit like 50%.
Yeah, you don't think that his is higher than 80
lifetime?
Oh yeah. Mason Crosby.
Hold on, I think the lifetime field goal percentage is way lower than you'd expect.
No, because when we had Chris Jackie on, I remember you saying that you thought that he hit all of his field goals. Hey, you ain't wrong. You ain't too wrong, Mike. So Mason Crosby is 81% on his career. So I guess that is the same as what Anders Carlson had. But yeah, Mason Crosby, 79% his rookie year, 79% his sophomore year. Yeah, he had a 63 year. So yeah, Mike, you ain't wrong.
I mean, so like, and so now here's the fault of what this stat is because Anders Carlson missed like probably like 6 extra points, maybe more.
Yeah.
Right. Which they're not including in the field goal percentage.
Yeah. And I can't remember when they moved back the extra point. I could guess by looking at Mason Crosby's stats, and it would be like 2016. He ended up missing 3.
Okay. So the highest all time for field goal percentage is Justin Tucker at 90.183. Right. So even Justin Tucker is missing 9% of all his kicks. 1 out of every 10 he doesn't make.
Yeah, no, I definitely did think it was higher. I mean, that's insane. And I knew he was the best or like number 2.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if he misses a kick, he falls behind Vinatieri or something like that. I can't remember who the other one he falls behind is. but yeah, Mason Crosby. Wait, oh no, that was the 2023 season. Okay, never mind. We're too much time on the kicker.
Yeah,
Mike,
we always spend too much time on the kickers. Now,
yeah,
I do love to defend Anders Carlson for some dumb reason, right? I actually think that I would defend Mason Crosby less than I would defend Anders Carlson, which is crazy because I love Crosby. I have no problems with him, but I think him being a rookie, I'm like, all right, this was the year to let our rookies grow. I'm cool with letting our rookies grow. He's a piece of that puzzle. Now, does it suck that he cost us shit and he didn't grow in the time that we needed him to grow? Yeah, but like, it's better, I guess, for us to fail this year than next year when like things are more suited for us to run the table.
yeah. Well, yeah, I think we covered most everything that we needed. So, I mean, we're saying fire Joe Barry, keep Carlson, but
Well,
I don't
I'm
know.
saying keep Carlson. I don't know if Pat's saying keep Carlson.
I mean, it's too late at this point. Like he already missed the big one, the heartbreaker. I'm gonna say keep him, but keep him on a short freaking leash for next year. And if by the midway of the season point, if he's not, someone that we think we can trust in the playoffs, I think you got to get rid of him at that
Okay,
point.
but like in all reality, so he's the middle of the pack for the NFL, right?
Yeah,
80% is middle of the pack, right?
not
Who do you
including
replace
that.
him with?
Someone who makes their extra points at least.
But I don't know that that's accurate, right? Like, do they do that if they don't make field goals in the NFL?
See, like I'm saying, we're spending too much time on a kicker. But yes, I do think
The fucking kickers like affect things though. We've had kickers affect things in the past. We've had this kicker fucking affected. That's why
yeah,
I'm spending the time on it.
but I'm just saying if you're missing an extra point or a kick, 11 of the first 12 games, I think
No,
you
the
just
last ones. That's even worse. It's the last ones.
yeah, but I think you roll the dice and say, I'm trying to think of like, yeah, I mean, it's like picking a kicker in fantasy football. It's like, let's just see if we can get lucky and grab this kicker off the street. But I'm done talking about kickers. Mike, what else do you got that we need to fix before next season?
So I think we need to send Darnell Savage a jugs machine.
Yeah.
Somebody in the Packers fandom, just send him a fucking jugs machine. That guy seems to be in a good spot frequently and then drop picks. That's the way I feel is his whole career with the Packers is that like he's around the ball, right? But he never makes the pick. And then my other thinking is we need to find Micah Hyde, uh, Nick Collins, or Woodson. And I get like I'm talking Collins and Woodson are like guys that I think are like some of the best defensive players we've had since the 90-17, right? But we need to have a ball hawk of some sort. That's what Micah Hyde was. He was a ball hawk. He was a guy who was just around the ball all the fucking time.
Yeah, and that was a weird one. Another one that we let go of that was like he was making strides. He definitely has became a better player since leaving the Packers, but I always thought he was good on the Packers as well. Like it
So
seemed
I
like
think
he was around.
Packers scheme, we fucked with a lot of corners due to our scheme. Like Casey Hayward was like a 6-time Pro Bowler after he left the Packers, and we hated him because he couldn't cover nobody. Maybe that was the Packers' fault.
It seemed that way after all these guys left. Because
And
Hyde leaves, he's a Pro Bowler. Yeah.
I think there was a few of them too, and I don't think it was just those two. But we need to find a ball hawk now. Like whoever that is, like I don't care. When Tyrann Mathieu was a free agent, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it was, I was like, that's the guy you go get. Like that's a guy who just like knows football in a weird, like instinctual way, and is always around the ball. If there's a tip up, he seems to be, snagging it on the air. We need to find that guy. He doesn't have to be like this elite level, right? Like corner or safety or whatever. He just needs to be the guy that like, what the ball's in the air, that's mine, right? I can't cover any other time, but the ball pops in the air 35 yards away from me, I figure out how to get there and like take the interception.
Yeah, that like you said, very Nick Collins like. Yeah, it's something like the Ed Reeds and Paul Malus who just like kind of play the game more with their mind. Obviously they're beasts like otherwise, like very like skilled, but yeah.
And I think
just
you're
having a
mind
mind
like Hall of Famers, and I think there's other guys on other teams. Like this is it Bland for the Cowboys? Like that guy just seems to be in the right place at the right time. Like he's not their best corner, I don't think.
Yeah, I just definitely do think though the people who are those ball hawks tend to end up in the Hall of Fame, like with
maybe
when they play with their mind like that. But yeah, I mean that's another nice thing though is like where it seems like we're pretty well set on offensive line. All of our skill positions. Maybe our running backs are getting a little bit old, but I don't think you really need.
So Dylan's not old, and like he just has to like play differently early in the season. We enjoyed the way he played late in the season when he was healthy. It was just early in the season we thought like, what are you doing here, man?
Yeah. And I mean, Aaron Jones is he's 29 right now. So he's going to be hitting that 30-year mark, which whatever, after we seen what he did at the end of the season, like, I don't think you go anywhere with that. So see how our young running backs start to look like if you give Wilson a little bit more play, maybe Taylor a little bit more play, or, a late pick in the draft that you can spend on a running back. Like you can get a very good quarter or running back late in NFL drafts these days. And yeah, the, what you call it? But yeah, the safety position. it's such a fun one to like pick for second round. For me,
Yeah,
that's where
yeah,
I'm.
me too, right? But like, I don't think we do. I shouldn't say that. I do think if is it Cooper DeJean or DeJean Cooper or whatever from
That's who I
Iowa?
want.
I feel like that's the guy. That's the guy everybody is going to be mocking to the Packers, which I think actually would be a perfect fit. We went from being like a team that always drafted UCLA players, and now it's just going to be Iowa Hawkeyes.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of that, but Cooper DeJean I will take.
Well, then we have Ben Ness this last year, and then fucking DeJean this year. We're
True,
Iowa people now,
true.
but
All right.
that defense legit, so I can deal with it.
And yeah, sure up that safety position. Then I don't know, man. This team looks great. I'm excited for the future. And that's all I really got. Fire Joe Barry, figure out how to get this defense to come together, get that last missing piece, let the receivers grow, let the tight ends grow, maybe bring in, a young running back to like push these guys and see if we can get a running back. So there's no like transition period. It's like kind of like how we did at the quarterback position.
Is it possible Emmanuel Wilson is that guy and we just don't know yet?
Yeah, no, I think that's very possible, especially after seeing what he did in the preseason and stuff like that. He's only 24. He showed us flashes, so I do think
and like so we cut Taylor for him, right? Which I thought was like a pretty substantial move.
Yeah. So did we cut Patrick or Taylor?
I mean, we put him on initially at the beginning of the season. Then I think we resigned him to the practice squad, and then we had him play up from the practice squad a few times.
Okay, gotcha. But yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. Like, I think Wilson is definitely worth giving a shot. But yeah, I guess that just
you can draft a guy too. I don't
Yeah.
have any issues with this.
Yeah.
So
sixth round.
and maybe we do like something more like draft wise later, but and don't just like keep talking around the shit. But do you move up in drafts now because like you have all your pieces set, and then you don't need the volume of players?
I don't know, because I think that's kind of like the key to not ever having to do that is how the Packers play it. Don't get me wrong, I'm a dumbass. I would love to jump up and
right to the first pick.
Well,
Marvin
maybe
Harrison Jr.
But
I actually don't think we need him.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't address any receivers in this draft. I would trade out of positions where it looks like somebody wants one of these receivers in this draft.
Yep,
and then I would try to trade into positions where I could get like Cooper DeJean. I'm not our draft guy. Mike's our draft guy. But just, yeah, I'm a dumbass, but I would like to trade to get what I want, especially at this point where the last couple of years, we've been kind of collecting our pieces. Now it feels like we really have our pieces and we need specific pieces. But I just don't think that's the way the Packers operate. I think they operate and the scouts, they trust their scouts that are like, hey, we got this Iowa State safety in the 6th round that could fill this void. So it looks like
we don't need whoever that. I don't remember who the player was. There was a good one early that they probably could have had in one of their first like 2-round picks.
Yeah,
I can't remember though.
Yeah, I do not remember. I mean, I remember a lot of the play. I guess I remember more how this draft class played on the field this year. But
yeah, that's because they all fucking played.
Yeah, but we have another draft like that, you're good to go, whether you trade into your places or not. But Mike, I'll tell you the truth, I don't really have much more to say that I wouldn't be repeating myself. I don't know if you got.
I don't have much more to say except for if you're doubting the Badgers, the Bucks, the Brewers, or the Packers, you can eat our shorts. Roll it.
All them suckers that doubted the Packers can't eat my shorts. All them suckers that doubted the Packers can't eat my shorts. Beat them. All them suckers that doubted the Packers can't eat my shorts. Eat my shorts.